Today we're going to be comparing numbers. Our I can statements are I can use base 10 blocks to compare numbers. I can compare numbers using the terms greater than and less than. I can compare numbers using the symbols greater than and less than. Remember, the alligator mouth always eats the bigger number. You can use base 10 blocks to compare numbers. Which is greater, 235 or 146? When we build our numbers with base 10 blocks, we break them apart per place value. Looking at the number 235, I have 2 hundreds, 3 tens rods, and 5 ones. In 146, I have 100 flat, 4 10 rods, and 6 single units. I compare the biggest place value first. In this case, the hundreds is our biggest place value. 200 is greater than 100, so 235 is greater than 146. The symbol here stands for greater than. It always points to the bigger number. It's always open to the biggest number. Two numbers that have the same number in the hundreds, you go to the next place value, which is the tens. So when we compare 372 and 345, our first step is always to look at the biggest place value, which is the hundreds. But in this case, both place values are the same. They both have 3 hundreds. Therefore, we must look at the tens place next. I have 7 tens or 4 tens. Which is greater, 7 tens or 70, or 4 tens, which is 40? 372 is greater than 345 because 7 tens, 70, is greater than 4 tens, 40. We could write this as 345 is less than 372, or you can write it with the symbol this way. Again, the opening is always eating the bigger number. When we compare the numbers that have the same place value in the hundreds, the same place in the tens, then we have to go all the way to the last place value, which is the ones. Comparing 418 and 415. Breaking out our numbers, we have 400s, 400s, 110, 110. So far, we're the same. We have to go to the next place value to figure out which is greater. Oops. So first, we compare the hundreds, then we compare the tens, then we compare our ones. 418 is greater than 415 because 8 ones is greater than 5 ones. Here's some practice. You're going to answer with greater than or less than using the words greater than or less than, spelling them out. First, right here, we have in number 1, three hundreds, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tens, and I don't see any ones. So 300 is, oh, I see what we're doing. 390. We're going to compare each of these red boxes. Which is greater, 300 or 90? 300 is greater than 90, so the alligator mouth eats the 300. Looking at number 2, we're going to compare this whole number. So first we have to count our hundreds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hundreds. There are 0 10 rods. So I have 6 hundreds, 0 tens, And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ones. And my number is written down here. Then we have 6 hundreds, 110, and also 9 ones. The number is written right here. So which is greater, 609 or 619? Going through the directions, we count our hundreds place first. But in this case, it's the same digit. We have 6 hundreds in both numbers. Looking at the tens place then next, we have 0 tens and 110. 110 is greater than 0 tens, so the alligator mouth eats the bigger number, and we read this as 609 is less than 619. So we would write this out greater. It's hard to write with this marker. And then we would write less here. That's a really bad S. All right, moving on. It says use base 10 blocks to compare the numbers, then answer with greater than or less than. Because I'm using this marker, I'm going to use my symbols instead of writing them in. Looking at number 3, 233 is greater than or less than 333. I know that I must first check my biggest place value, which is my hundreds. The first number has 200, and the next one has 300. Which is greater? 300 is greater, so my alligator mouth is open, facing 333. I would read this as 233 is less than 333. Looking at number 4, the same thing. We start with our biggest place value, which is the hundreds. Both digits in the hundreds place are 7. So then I need to look at the next place value, which is the tens place. I have a 1, 10, and 0 tens. 110 is greater than 0 tens. So my alligator mouth is going to face this way. I would read this as 715 is greater than 709. In number 5, we're going to look at the hundreds place, 500, 500, both are the same. So then I must look in the tens place, 60, 60, those are the same. So now I need to go all the way to the ones place, and we have 4 ones and 0 ones. 4 ones is greater than 0 ones. So my sign will eat up the 564 is greater than 560. Looking at the number 6 here, 479 is what to 497? Looking in the hundreds, 400, 400. Looking in the tens, 70, 90. 90 is greater. All right. If I didn't have my marker, I would have been spelling out greater than or less than in these examples. Down here, we're going to continue doing the same thing with the symbols. 578 is what compared to 478? Looking at my hundreds place first, 500, 400, that's an easy one. 500 is greater than 400. But they're going to get a little bit harder as we go. Number 8, we know we look at our hundreds place, 826, 890. Our hundreds digit is the same, it's 800 and 800. Looking at my tens place, 20 and 90. 90 is greater than 20. I would read this as 826 is less than 890. You try 9 and 10 on your own. Looking at number 9, 495 and 490, My hundreds places are the same and my tens places are the same. So I have to go all the way to the ones. And 5 ones is greater than 0 ones. So 495 is greater than 490. And the last one on this slide, 800 and 800, 70 and 90. 879 is less than 897. We'll come back to this game and play it tomorrow in class. Now you're ready for the let's practice. Good luck!